Hey. What? Why? Could it be? Come on.
In other words...
Hey.
What?
Is that right? Indeed.
Let's go.
But...
Correct. That's right. Whew. So... However... Wrong. In other words...
Just a second!
Makoto. It would seem... Goodbye.
I can't wait! Drills! Let's begin with a basic explanation. If you can figure out, then
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
It's Kyoko! There's no one—
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No! That's a ghost!
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology!
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can—
Okay. So then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Her trait?
I got it! I'm talking about her gloves. They'll give us some insight into the—
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
And would you happen to know the answer?
In fact, Monokuma told me.
Oh! You know, now that I think about it,
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko there is
Impossible.
okay, then prove
The
it.
dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
Shoot! That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
That Kyoko. Okay, then prove
The
it.
dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up.
Then she was wearing.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
No, it's wrong. No, there's no way the corpse was wearing gloves. Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to—
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're
Anyone doesn't know women.
Well, Kyoko, any—
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life. If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body—
which should have been obvious since she's
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Kyoko really is still alive. Then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Well, if we can't identify the body...
Then there's nothing else we can do, right? If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it. I don't think so. The face was scorched and there wasn't any description. Well, if we can't identify the body...
Then there's nothing else we can do, right? Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition.
And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file.
Oh, if we can't identify the body.
And there's nothing else we can do, right? If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so.
The face was scorched beyond recognition.
Shoot!
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched
Beyond recognition.
and there wasn't any description in the Monokuma. Oh, if we can't identify the body.
Shoot!
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Oh, if we can't identify the body.
And there's nothing else we can do, right? If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition, and there wasn't any description. Oh, if we can't identify the body.
No, that's wrong! There was one clue left behind.
What? For you're lying. You'll die a cruel and unusual.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking.
The key to figuring it is the tattoo on the...
Oh, yeah. The designs.
Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
Seriously? It really did something that humiliating?
No, that's not it. The identity of...
Oh, really?
I got it! The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro...
Okay, to show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
Now I understand! The representation of Fenrir is... a wolf.
Fenrir. The Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf face. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo.
Exactly. Which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir, so it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that...
Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead?
No, it means we were wrong.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermind.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair. After all, looking at her profile, all it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, Kyoko.
So that means...
Who was she? She's been gone this whole time? Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot...
So you're saying she wasn't an important, which would mean she was the same as us.
Then, who's the...
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after.
No, the headmaster has...
But how can we trust that?
My information was...
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now, figuring out who killed Mukuro. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But no matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at now then. Just so nobody's confused. But the reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been...
Nope! There are only 6...
Seriously? Then...
Who did it?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed...
Huh?
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence point?
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to just after nighttime last night that at that point there was... So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us, the whole time, we were very careful, not all of which is to say, the four of us all have
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
Exactly.
I have something I'd like to...
Are you thinking of raising an up?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder... Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden. Well, it was after nighttime for sure. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find...
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right?
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
He's right.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time. We've established a time frame that took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning. Yep.
And Makoto doesn't...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Shoot!
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in...
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time. We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time. We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night.
No, it's wrong! Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock.
And what makes you say...
Because of the sprinkler. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember. The body was wet.
Sorry, Toko.
I'm wrong? Are you saying only the mouth sound?
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because...
What do you mean by denying the spring?
Man.
If you really think it's you... I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? How can you say it wasn't the...
This should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion. The top half of the body was wet, yes. If the sprinklers got the body wet...
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was complete...
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just... The reason only the top half was wet was because... While the body was still on fire, I doused it with water.
Oh, then I guess the...
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all.
In which case, the only one left with...
I'd just like to say one, if you vote for me and I die here, which is why...
So are you saying...
Of course I'm not. I have no reason. This is a trap, the mastermind.
A trap?
We're this far into the game, and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her. She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, so she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
She had a motive and no alibi. Well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did. What? Because you see, there is a way the...
Interesting.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain...
You're talking about the tarp.
You catch on quick. You're right. All you have to do is cover the body. In fact, that's exactly the dirt pattern on the tarp. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, this proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting...
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just...
Wait.
And what might that... By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting...
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side was the sprinkler got that...
At the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the... Of course it didn't get dirty!
By covering the body, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty is because the sprinkler...
But the underside, it was totally spotless.
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty!
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side was the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from... Since it was facing down toward... Of course it didn't get dirty!
No, that's wrong! Actually, one side being clean is pretty... Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got... Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it if you put a tarp on a body in that state.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh!
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of kick? What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong?
You mean
someone else's?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from... That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended...
No, that's the killer got the blood from right there in the...
I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder...
So, you're saying... Man, that's messed up!
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't... Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood. But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was
I have to agree that maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough...
Here's what happened. But the body didn't get wet. Because then, later, at the same time the killer was they pulled the coat over the body. The coat that this series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual... They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the...
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened early.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that... Huh? They already had the coat ready. So they just had to grab the tarp and they'd be done in no time.
Maybe.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together?
Oh, no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't...
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate. Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Hey, why don't we let luck decide?
Oh!
See? Pretty...
No, not that. I just
Well, don't just stand there.
You know that knife we found?
The one we found stuck in the... According to the Monokuma file? So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure that's what I thought when I first saw...
You don't seem surprised. Then why did you hide...
It's not that I hid it.
This shit, a knife we found stuck in the... Now I'm totally convinced he did it!
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one that we gave to Makoto!
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that knife before, that seals it! Makoto?
Just because I had the knife, that automatically makes me the killer.
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it!
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one that you gave to Makoto!
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it! Makoto did it!
just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid
If he did have that seals it. Just because I had that automatic?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed it.
So there's no question.
You took that knife of yours and...
what a horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found, it's the same one. It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that seals it. Just because I had that automatic? Well,
Getting stabbed is what...
no, it's wrong. Wait, hold on. The stab, that should be clear from the description.
Lies! We never talked...
No, don't. The killer covered the dead body with the tarp and then put the blood. In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until...
Okay, fine.
So, when he discovered... The knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and...
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only...
Oh yeah, it sure did. Until it...
And the knife
was just another piece of camouflage. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually... Exploding the body afterward was The explosion severely damaged the body. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy...
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death.
Oh, hey, I have a question. What's the deal with that explosion anyway?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use...
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle cost an atomic level...
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to...
Go ahead, Makoto.
I got it! After the explosion, we found a tiny... That fragment reveals the cause of...
Huh?
That's only natural. We saw the same thing when it's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was...
Anyway, the culprit's motive is because they wanted the knife wound to look like the and the only one who would benefit from is the only other possible suspect.
Hold on a second, Hyuk.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me.
Fine. I have no problem. It won't change the facts of the case regardless. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well,
Yeah? She was already totally dead when...
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other...
Oh yeah! That's gotta be it! There was evidence that she...
and more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue? The victim's fatal injury has yet to...
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well,
Yeah? She was already...
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh yeah! According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it! There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head!
and more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. Yes.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that...
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah. She was already told...
And it wasn't because of the knife, right? And then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body. Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet...
The explosion didn't kill her for sure.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be it.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire...
Then, shall we continue the debate? The victim's
Fatal injury has yet...
No, that's wrong. Mukuro died because of a blow to the back of the head.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh.
Oh yeah, good point. If they were old, I guess they don't...
Okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object, about as thick as...
Oh! I bet it was the...
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that...
Well, maybe they held it the other way and...
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to swing it with it. I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you...
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with the metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain of yours, throw it on the ground and
I feel the same way! Looks like...
Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right? It just so...
We already know? I knew we could count.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced...
I got it! Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something. And that something was...
Arrow. That's what...
Indeed. There's no doubt...
Are you sure?
Hey! How dare you back...
I'm not back talking anything. I'm just saying.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Right. Because in the Monokuma, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a knife height. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master, you have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder
Are
weapon.
you sure?
You don't sound...
Well, it said the weapon must have been about... It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master, you have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound...
Well, it said the weapon must have been about... It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master, you have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Well, it said the weapon must have been about. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Shoot! The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Well, because in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master! You have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced.
Well, it said the weapon must have been about it. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Talking back to Master! You have no right!
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker. I have no doubt that was the...
Are you sure?
You don't sound
Well, it said the weapon must have been. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
No, it's wrong. You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a... The killer probably used bundling them together using the duct tape with these, and that's exactly what...
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak, but put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
That's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that as for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon, it was you.
I've never been to the dojo.
Oh no.
How can you say that with such...
Because we have proof, of course. Surely you don't intend to. You know what will happen if you do. If you cover for the culprit, there's the death of us all.
Of course I...
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence.
I got it! The one thing that proves key right here.
And how does that prove any?
Because
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play. That key is just the final piece. Your non-existent alibi. This all proves that you are...
hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead...
No, it's not that. There's one more thing I need. Kyoko. Last night, you were in my why. That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
What?
That's enough. The time for...
Wait, I'm warning you. Don't make...
I knew you were stubborn, but
Really? But you should... Can you tell me I'm wrong?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Yakuya.
What are you...
Master, would you never hide something from me?
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime and then left the locker key in my own room. Correct?
But could I really have done that?
Those words you just spoke.
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that.
What are you...
Master, would you never hide something?
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
No, it's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko would... Because she had given her room.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your...
Then obviously I had no... Without my room key, I could... Am I wrong?
It would appear not.
Then you're finally starting...
Well, have you decided to accept... I see. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't...
But who else could it have...
I mean, Byakuya...
You!
But of course I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I couldn't possibly have killed anyone.
Well, someone had to put...
There's only one of someone could have had the key on them. Then once they arrived at the scene... I don't see any other...
Wait a second. Let's think about it one more time.
Huh?
First of all, there's something off about this. Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead. And then we're thrown, and Kyoko even said, it's a trap that...
Okay!
Huh?
Time's up! Clap.
What?
What do you mean time's up?
It's because you were late! So we had to push back the start time. So then, it's time for...
Voting time.
Now! Who will be... Hey, hold on! What's it gonna be? What's it... Yes, indeed! Yep! Hey! Shing! Thrills! Chill!
I don't expect you to forgive me.
Let's give it up!
It would seem...
What the?
In other words... Calm down. In other words...
What did you...
So... Just a second. It smells awful. Indeed. So... Hey. Hmm? So... You... Indeed. However... It's true. In other words, indeed. Makoto. That's right. It would seem... Hey. Indeed. However... Why is that? Correct. However...
I should... My goal isn't to get...
Listen. Hey. Correct. So... Correct. So... In other words...
Huh?
No matter what?
So,
However... So... It's true. Indeed. Correct. However... So... However... However... Anyway... Indeed. Correct. That's right. In other words... Hey. Indeed. Anyway... Correct. However... Correct. Indeed. Correct. In other words, Makoto. Indeed. That's right. It would seem... Indeed.